In this section, we will be covering the quantum theory. The first question is, as the price level decreases, the value of money, A, increases so people want to hold more of it, B, increases so people want to hold less of it, C, decreases so people want to hold more of it, or D, decreases so people want to hold less of it. So we know when the price level decreases, the value of money will always increase. It's like the process of inflation. So when the price increases, you would want the money to be, you wouldn't want to hold less of it. So the answer choice for this is B, because it's increased, the value of money increases, and that people want to hold less of it. The next question is, when the price level rises, the number of dollars needed to buy a representative basket of goods is A, increase, and so that the value of money rises, B, increases, and so the value of money falls, C, decreases so the value of money rises, or D, decreases and so the value of money falls. So if we read this question carefully, it's stating that when the price level rises, what happens to the dollars needed to buy a representative basket of goods? So this is inflation. When the price level rises, you know that the basket of goods will increase. So you could eliminate C and D. So once the basket of goods increases, the value of money, will fall. So this would be B, increases and that the value of money falls. The next question you have is, last year, Thailandia produced 50,000 bags of green tea. This was Thailandia's only production. Each bag sold at 4 units each of Thailandia's currency, the leaf. Thailandia's money supply was 10,000. What was the velocity of money in Thailandia? A, 20, B, 5, C, 120, or D, 1/5. So in order to solve this, the total amount of bags is 50,000. So the total amount is 50,000, and the money supply was 10,000. So you would divide that by the money supply. 50, you would just cancel out those zeros. 1 divided by 5 is 50. 5. It would equal 5. So once you have the 5, each bag of tea is sold at $4 units of Thailandia's currency. So you would get the value of 5 times that by the value of 4, which equals 20. The answer choice is A, 20. The next question we have is, according to the assumptions of quantity theory, if the money supply increases 5, then A, nominal and real GDP would rise by 5%. B, nominal GDP would rise by 5%, real GDP would be unchanged. C, nominal GDP would be unchanged, real GDP would rise by 5%. Or D, neither nominal GDP nor real GDP would be unchanged. So if we read the question carefully, it's stating that money supply increases by 5%. When it states money supply is increasing, you know that the nominal change would also increase, because nominal relates to money supply. Real GDP relates to goods, but nowhere in the statement does it say anything about goods. So the answer should be money supply increased by 5%. The only one that states that nominal increases by 5% is B, because it's stating that it is increasing by 5%, but the real GDP would be unchanged, because you can see in the question nowhere does it state that the GDP is either going up or down, because there's no product of goods, so that would be unchanged. So the best answer choice is B. The next question we have is, the money supply in Thailand is 100 billion. Nominal GDP is 80 billion and real GDP is 200 billion. What are the price level and velocity in Thailand? A, the price level and velocity are both 8. B, the price level is 8 and velocity is 4. C, the price level and velocity are both 4. D, the price level is 4 and velocity is 8. So the money supply we have is 100 billion equals money supply. We know the nominal GDP is 800 billion. And we know that the real GDP is 200 billion. In order to find out the price level, you would do the nominal GDP divided by real GDP. So the nominal GDP over here is 800 billion. Divide that by the 200 billion, and that will give you 400 billion, which will give you 4. So we know that the price level is 4. Now in order to solve the velocity, you would have to get the nominal GDP, which is 800, and divide that by the money supply, which is 100 billion. And that gives you 8 as a velocity. So the only answer choice that gives the price level as 4 and the velocity is A is D, which is very simple. Suppose the United States unexpectedly decided to pay off its debt by printing new money. Which of the following would happen? People who held money would feel poorer. B, prices would rise. C, people who had lent money at its fixed interest rate would feel poor. Or D, all of the above. So when you know that the price, if they're trying to pay off the debt by printing new money, that means the value of the old money is decreasing because they're printing more money. So this is basically going to cause people who had held money would feel poorer because the money they had, the prices of the dollar would feel lower. So that's true. So B, prices would rise because the product goods are going to be increasing, but the value of a dollar note would decrease. So that's true. C, people who had lent money at a fixed interest rate would feel poor, which is also true because the fixed interest rate is increasing, but the value of a dollar is lower, so it would feel poor. So the best answer choice for this is D, all of the above. The last question we have is Stephen puts money into an account. 1 year later, he sees that he has 6% more dollars and that his money will buy 2% more goods. The answer choice is A, the nominal interest rate was 8% and the inflation rate was 6%. B, the nominal interest rate was 6% and the inflation rate was 4%. C, the nominal interest rate was 4%, the inflation rate was 2%. Or D, none of the above is correct. So we know that in this question, in order to find, we're looking for the inflation rate and then trying to find the nominal interest rate. So we already know that the nominal interest rate is 6% because in the question it's saying more dollars. So when it's stating dollars, it's 6%. So and then it's stating that 2% is more goods. So when it's more goods, it's stating a real GDP. So now, in the answer choices, the only one that has 6% as a nominal is B. The nominal interest rate was 6%, and the inflation rate was 4%. Just to make sure, if you want to calculate the inflation rate, you know it's nominal GDP equals inflation rate plus real GDP. So you already know the real GDP was 2. So if you want to calculate the inflation rate, well, what happens to equal to 4? So inflation rate plus real GDP. So it's 4 plus 2 equals 6. So the correct answer is B. Thank you.